Hey, it's Amiya Jetski, and today we're talking about what I would personally want in a Sonic Frontiers sequel, aka Sonic Frontiers 2. Before we start though, I will ask you to please like and sub. I know I haven't posted a genuine video in a hot minute, mostly because I've been doing a lot more streams and stuff. However, that's no excuse. I'm sorry, let's just get right into the video. Now, the thing about making a sequel is you have to know what made it good in the first place and keep that stuff, but also improve on things that were a little lackluster from the original experience. Now, with that being said, I will first talk about the things I would keep from the original, and then later on get into the things I would try differently. Now, with that being said, I think one of the main things they have to keep in order for this game to succeed is the physics and overall control. When it comes to a sequel to this game, I think it definitely should keep that, because it's honestly one of Sonic Frontiers' greatest strengths, is the physics and overall control. However, that doesn't mean there's not problems with it that can be fixed. I'm just saying it should keep the basics and control very similarly to it. Now, the next thing I'm talking about is the actual collectibles itself. I think that's a definite necessary, honestly, because I like how you progress through the game. You get the portal gears, you go through cyberspace, you get the keys, and then you get the emerald. That's how it should be. Also, I like the side quests and how you can collect emeralds through that. However, there are problems with it, but I'll get into that later on in the video. However, I do think the progression system itself is quite good, and they should definitely keep something similar to it. Another thing that needs to be kept is the voiceover artists who play the Sonic characters. They do an utterly fantastic job. It's insane. That also leads me into the next thing they definitely need to keep, which is the writers of this game. They do a fantastic job as well. Ian Flynn knocks it out of the park. He's had a lot of experience though, so you'd honestly expect him to. I will say they do overdo it in some of the references, but I would rather have them reference a bunch of stuff rather than them just completely butcher the Sonic's character and all the other characters as well. The next thing I definitely think they should keep is that sense of grandiosity. Like, this is a great, grand adventure. You know, there hasn't been a feeling like that in a Sonic game, personally for me, since Sonic Unleashed. I love that. I love the sense of grandiosity there is in there. That's pretty much all I got to say about the stuff they definitely should keep. On to the stuff that they probably should change. Now, I wouldn't outright change this as I would tweak it. I think the physics need to be changed a little bit, because every time you're boosting and you jump, all momentum is killed, and I don't think that really works for a game like this. I would change it to like where you still have momentum when you jump. It just slows down a little bit. Also, Sonic does not need to be super glued to the ground. It's just kind of awkward and weird. Other than that though, I don't really think there needs to be anything done to the physics. Now, the next thing I'm talking about is a pretty agreed upon one. It's the fact that they need to figure out how to make the game actually handle the graphics properly without any pop-in, or at least make it less noticeable, because in this game it's very bad. Definitely important that they figure something out. Now, I talked about a lot of that, you know, in my personal review, how I'm pretty sure the Hedgehog engine just cannot handle, so I think they definitely need to switch engines, just due to the fact that the Hedgehog engine itself is clearly having a lot of trouble running a lot of this stuff. I don't think this is just a new problem though. I think it's been a problem for a long time. Even in a game like Sonic Forces, there is pop-in. It's just not very noticeable because the levels are so linear. However, it becomes a much bigger problem in a more open, you know, zone kind of level they got going on, and it just doesn't work. So it's clear they definitely need to switch engines. That's pretty much all I get to say on this one. On to the next thing, which I definitely think is another big issue. They need to definitely 110% integrate the rails and other objects into the open zone much better, because as it stands now, there's just like a bunch of rails floating in the air with like nothing around them, which is very strange. Part of me wonders if it was just like a time constraint, like they didn't have time to fully integrate it into the open zone themselves, which I 100% believe, but I don't know, it just needs to be done a little better next time. The next thing I'm talking about is something I find very important that they definitely need to do next time, and that's different open zone variations. I mean, I like Kronos and I like Ares, but I'm not gonna lie to you, they are very generic level types. Like, Chronos, for example, is basically the standard open world game zone or level or whatever, and Ares is just straight up the desert level. And then you got Chaos, which is just the lava level. It's very standard and very generic. I want to see some more Sonic stuff, honestly. One of my big wants is definitely an open zone city. I want to see a Chronos-sized, or at least originally sized, city open zone. It would be crazy. Like a mix between Empire City and City Escape. Oh my god, it would be awesome, bro. And I say city mostly because I think when you think of a city level from a video game, your first thought is probably going to be Sonic, because honestly, Sonic was probably one of the first to pioneer or perfect the city level. So, you know, I just want to see what an open zone city level could be in a open world Sonic game. The next open zone variation that I would love to see is a snow type open zone, which I actually thought they were going to do for this game before they revealed the last two islands, which just turned out to be Chronos Island copies, I guess. But yeah, I really thought they were going to do it for this game specifically, but they didn't end up doing that, and I really wish they did. I really think for a sequel, though, that it's like a necessary. They have to do it, honestly. On to the next variation. Now, the next open zone variation that I would love to see is a Crisis City type level. I really feel like it could really benefit the overall game, you know, honestly. It'd be super interesting, and it's very different, and I don't see a lot of open world games have something like a Crisis City open zone variation. I think it would be very interesting. That's pretty much all the variations that I definitely want. On to the next thing. The next thing I think really needs to be worked on is the actual in-game animations themselves. I think they're a little lackluster. It could be better, honestly, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of the combat stuff, it feels a little stilted and unfinished, and next time around I would like to see more interesting and, I want to say out there animations for the combat specifically. Speaking of which of combat, I think there's a lot more they could do with this. The problem with it is, I don't think it's fast enough for a character like Sonic. I think you need to be zooming all around these enemies and punching them at like insane speeds, which is something that's not really there in the game. I mean, it's kind of there, but not really. Like, I want to see, like, every time, like, every 10 combos, your natural punches and kicks should get faster. Something like that. I think it could be really interesting if they really expanded on the combat. That's basically all the stuff I really want to see changed in a Sonic Frontiers sequel. In conclusion, I think Sonic Frontiers is a really solid game. It has a lot of positives, and a lot of stuff definitely worth keeping around. However, there is still some stuff they could definitely fix, and new ideas that can be thrown in the table. However, that depends on if there is actually going to be a sequel or not. Personally, I think it's inevitable, but maybe not. Maybe it'll be like Sonic Adventure 3 and just never happen. That's pretty much all I got to say for today. It was Amiya Jetski, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.